Most people's understanding of wealth is still stuck in the agricultural or industrial age. They believe that to get rich, you must manage people. You have to be a manager, a boss. You have to exploit other people's time. Or you have to be incredibly wealthy already, borrowing massive sums from banks to play a heart-stopping game of financial leverage. But this is a profound misunderstanding. If you are still relying on selling your physical labor, trading your time, or managing others to acquire wealth, you are actually participating in one of the oldest and most brutal forms of internal attrition in human history. Imagine if you owned an army right now, an army of 100,000 soldiers who don't need sleep, don't need food, don't require a salary, and will never go on strike because they're in a bad mood. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they are out there conquering new territory for you, spreading your ideas and your value to every corner of the globe. Sounds like some wild science fiction, doesn't it? No, that is the phone in your pocket and the cloud servers you are using at this very moment. We are at an unprecedented turning point in the history of human civilization. Leverage is no longer the exclusive privilege of bankers or the powerful. As long as you know how to speak, how to write, or how to communicate with machines, you already possess a free army of robots. This is the ultimate comeback for the common person. Yet, in this battle, most people are still struggling in the mud of life, wielding the most primitive stone tool, labor. You need to understand one thing. The dichotomy of the modern world is no longer between the rich and the poor, nor the white collar and the blue collar. There is only one true divide, and that is between those who use leverage and those who are used by it. To understand how to win this battle, we first need to see clearly what the ladder of wealth actually looks like. The Silicon Valley philosopher Naval Ravikant once categorized leverage into 3 forms. These 3 types of leverage represent the 3 stages of human civilizational evolution. The first type, labor leverage. This is the oldest form of leverage. Simply put, it is having other people work for you. If you are a construction foreman and you want to build more houses, you have to hire more workers. It sounds prestigious, doesn't it? But this is also the form of leverage with the highest management difficulty, the fiercest competition, and the most exhausting nature. You have to deal with the complexities of human nature. You have to manage social costs. You have to handle emotions, sick leaves, and endless communication. Essentially, you're trading stress of managing people for wealth. This isn't true freedom. It is just labor on a much grander scale. The second type, capital leverage. This was the shining star of the 20th century. Warren Buffett is the ultimate master of this leverage. Capital is using money to make more money, amplifying the impact of your decisions. If you identify a winning path and invest $100 million, your judgment is instantly magnified 100 million times. But capital leverage has a fatal barrier to entry. It requires permission. If you want to move a vast sum of money, you need to convince investors. You need the bank's approval. You need to already have a base of accumulated wealth. Capital is arrogant. It flows primarily to those who already possess it. For the average person, this lever is far too heavy and far too out of reach. But pay attention here. The third type, zero marginal cost products. This is the gift bestowed upon us by the new era, and it is the form of leverage Naval admires most: code and media. This is the bedrock of the new elite, the foundation for people like Mark Zuckerberg or the podcast titan Joe Rogan. What does zero marginal cost actually mean? Imagine a construction foreman who wants to build one more house. He has to buy more materials and hire more men all over again. But when a software engineer writes a block of code, or when I record this video right now, whether I serve 1 user or 1 million users, the labor I expend is exactly the same. Code and media do not need sleep. While you are fast asleep in the dead of night, your code is still running on servers, and your videos are still being clicked across the web. They are out there convincing people for you, solving problems for you, and creating value for you. This is what I mean by an army of robots. For the sake of efficiency, we've gathered these robots into data centers. They are sitting there right now, waiting for your command. Let's look at the most direct comparison. If all the workers call in sick tomorrow, the traditional foreman's wealth generation grinds to a halt. But an engineer who writes a viral app, even if he is vacationing at the beach, his code continues to serve the entire world simultaneously. He has completely decoupled input from output. His effort is a one-time investment, but the returns are infinite and exponential. You need to ask yourself a brutal question. Is every ounce of effort you put in today, like that of the foreman, gone as soon as the job is done? Or is it like writing code, where every bit you create increases the size of your robotic army? If you are still trading your time for money, and if you are still begging others for an opportunity, then you haven't even stepped onto the real ladder of wealth yet. But that's not even the craziest part. The most captivating thing about this new lever isn't its sheer power. It's the fact that it is permissionless. What does permissionless truly mean? We'll dive into that in the next segment. We just touched on labor and capital. Have you noticed the one thing these two levers have in common? It's this. You have to ask for permission. If you want people to work for you, you have to display leadership or offer a salary they can't refuse. If you want to move capital, you have to put on a suit, write a business plan, and beg banks or venture capitalists to find you trustworthy. Naval Ravikant once said something incredibly profound. Capital and labor are permissioned leverage. Code and media are permissionless leverage. This is the core of what I'm telling you today, permissionless. This is the ultimate form of equality for the common person. In the old days, if you were a talented actor and you wanted the world to see you, what did you have to go through? You had to go to auditions, wait for a talent scout's favor, cater to a director's whims, and finally, wait for a TV station's scheduling. There were countless gatekeepers in between. If just one of them said no, your talent would rot inside you. But now, that era is over. You want to speak? Start a channel and record. You want to write? Open your laptop and publish. You want to build a product? As long as you have a keyboard, the servers of the world are open to you. No one can stop you. No one can tell you you're not qualified. This is a fair arena where the strong thrive on their own merit. If no one watches your content, it's because the content isn't good enough, not because you lack the right background. This lever acts as a magical equalizer, drastically closing the gap between individuals. Wealth today is no longer hidden within networking circles. It is hidden within your creativity. Zero marginal cost of replication. Decoupling input from output. Next, we need to discuss the most fascinating physical property of this lever, zero marginal cost of replication. It sounds academic, but it is actually the ultimate code to wealth. Why do most people work hard their entire lives yet never become wealthy? It's because they are renting out their time. If you are a lawyer, you might sell an hour of your life for $500. That seems high, but your wealth is capped because you only have 24 hours in a day. Your relationship between input and output is a one-to-one linear connection. The moment you stop, your income drops to zero. But code and media play by a different set of rules. Naval once said, "A viable way to get rich is to provide society with what it wants but does not yet know how to get, and deliver it at scale." The key lies in those two words, at scale. Let's look at J.K. Rowling. When she sat in that cafe writing the first volume of Harry Potter, Her physical effort, energy, and time were fixed. Let's say she spent 1,000 hours writing it. Those 1,000 hours were her input. But that book was printed on paper, converted into ebooks, adapted into films, and turned into merchandise. It was replicated billions of times. Rowling didn't need to rewrite the story for the millionth reader. This is the power of media leverage. She exerted a one-time effort but created a product that could be consumed infinitely. For every additional book sold, her marginal cost was nearly zero, yet her royalties flowed in continuously. This is why Naval marvels. There are armies of robots available for free. They're just packed in data centers for heat and space efficiency. Use them. When you write an elegant piece of code or create a deep piece of content, you are manufacturing these digital robots. While you are sleeping, eating, or spending time with your family, they continue to run through the virtual world for you, reaching potential clients and building your personal brand. This is in essence converting your labor into an asset. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. It's a brutal sentence, but it is the truth. And code and media are the very assets that work while you sleep. Judgment, the sole core of the era of leverage. But don't get celebrated just yet. Leverage is an amplifier. If you rest a long lever on the wrong fulcrum, the result of your exertion might not be moving the world, it might be launching yourself into oblivion. In the old days, if you worked hard but in the wrong direction, you simply wasted some physical energy. The loss was contained. But in the age of leverage, if you command an army of 100,000 robots and give them the wrong order, your mistake is magnified 100,000 times. This is why, in modern society, judgment is far more important than hard work. If you are hauling bricks in a factory, your judgment doesn't matter, your physical stamina does. But if you are the commander wielding media and code, every single decision you make dictates the direction of this massive army. We must learn to shift from a laborer's mindset to a decision-maker's mindset. Stop taking pride in how many hours you work today. That is looking backward toward the agricultural age. The question you should be asking yourself is, has this effort of mine accumulated into leverage? And this direction I've chosen, if it were magnified 1,000 times, would it lead to heaven or to hell? So stop complaining that the world has become too competitive or crowded. In fact, this is the friendliest era in human history for the average person. All the gatekeepers have vanished. All the robots are standing by. The only remaining test is this. Can you overcome your addiction to certainty, to the steady paycheck, and start building permissionless assets that truly belong to you? After everything we've discussed, you might be asking, this sounds great, but what should I actually do now? This is your comeback protocol. Don't try to build Rome in a day. You simply need to shift the direction of your energy starting today. Step 1. Choose your weapon, code, or media. You must learn to communicate either with machines or with souls. If you are logic-oriented, learn to code. You don't need to be a world-class algorithm expert, but you must understand how Python, Solidity, or the latest AI tools function. If you are intuitive or expression-oriented, master media, writing, recording, or video editing. The key is this: starting today, quit pure consumption. When you watch YouTube, ask yourself, why did they film it this way? When you use an app, ask, what problem is this solving? If you can't code, then write books, start a blog, make videos, or record podcasts. Step 2. Learn to build and sell. There is a powerhouse skill combination in Silicon Valley, the ability to both create a product, or build, and get people to buy into it, or sell. If you are a techie, you must step out of your comfort zone, learn psychology, learn the art of storytelling, or selling. If you are a sales expert, learn to use no-code tools or media automation building. When you can build a product with one hand and amplify it through media leverage with the other, you become unstoppable. Step 3. Apply leverage to your judgment. In this era, direction is 100 times more important than speed. With leverage, every decision you make is magnified 1,000-fold. It is incredibly dangerous to be so busy that you have no time to think. Key action. Set aside at least half a day of empty time every week. Turn off your phone, take out a blank sheet of paper, and contemplate your direction. Ensure your ladder is leaning against the right wall before you order your robotic army to start climbing. Look back at the history of humanity. Our ancestors had to expend physical labor just to survive. Our parents had to exert mental management just to make a living. But our generation stands at a miraculous tipping point, the era of leveraged labor. This isn't just about how to make money, it's about how to redeem your life. In this age, you are no longer a cog forced to spin just to stay alive. If you are willing, you can become the commander of a robotic army. When your code silently protects a user in the dead of night, when your words inspire a stranger across the world at dawn, you are achieving a new kind of freedom. This freedom isn't about never working again. It's about no longer being forced to trade your time just to survive. You can spend your time on the things you love, on your family, and on the pursuit of truth. Archimedes once said, "Give me a place to stand, and I shall move the world." In the 21st century, that place to stand is your judgment, and that long lever is permissionless code and media. The best part? You don't need to ask for anyone's permission. You just need to start. I am Wisdom Compound. May wisdom be with you.